You can now create your own Copilot within Copilot Studio that's actually trained on your company specific data. All right. So it gives you what amounts to your own personal AI assistant. What you would do is you would go and create your bot, your Copilot, Studio bot, and you define where it gets its information from. Now, that could be just from a set of documents, as you can see in the screenshot. I've uploaded some policy documents onto there. It could be a SharePoint site, and it will index the entire SharePoint site and all the files in there and read them, and then you can interrogate it and ask questions. It can read Dataverse. You can submit Dataverse tables into your knowledge. If it's an opportunity, you can say read over the opportunities table and give me recent deals that have gone in or recent closures. It can talk with any other website as well. So you can just point it at a website and say go read it. It can also talk to APIs too. There's a whole different slew of different things you can connect it to, and in a minute I'm going to sort of show you how it's configured and what it's capable of. You can also guide it, right? So if you're planning on potentially publishing this on your website so your customers can interactively ask or query data of your Copilot bot, you can do that. It's very easy to do that. But what you can do is you can tailor and refine how it interacts with your customer. For example, what kind of greeting should it give them? If the customer asks about this, what kind of things do I want it to do? And lastly, on the what kind of things do I want it to do, you can tell it to take action depending on how the chat is going. If it doesn't know and it loses its way, you can tell it, right, okay, if you lose your way, go and tell someone, and it will open up a live chat session with someone at your company. You don't have to give the customer the ability to talk to you over Teams. Copilot will just take care of that, and it will just open up a little Teams chat window to say I'm having problems. It's really good. Just to sort of demo this a little bit, so I've got my policy document robot, and in there I stipulate in the instructions what it should do, and this is indicating to the AI agent how I want it to operate. And I've said designed to answer specific questions around standard company policy documentation. It should minimize hallucinations and stick strictly to what is covered in the information that I'm providing. Okay, so that's where you outlay how you want it to operate, what you want it to say. If you go over to your knowledge, this is where you're going to go to actually upload your documentation. And you see you've got a big button at the top here that says add knowledge. If I press that, I can, as I was saying earlier on in the brief, public websites, a SharePoint library, Dataverse, or I can just click and drag files into there. It will read PDFs, it will read CSVs, read obviously Word documents. If it will read images, if it can read it, it will process it and add it to its knowledge. Okay, and it is just as easy as just dragging them over and saying, right, you are now trained on this knowledge. Under topics, this is where you go in to stipulate how it interacts with people. So how it says hello, how it says goodbye, how you ask it to start over, how it thanks somebody, and you can add your own into there as well. It doesn't have to be a hello or a goodbye. It could be if they ask me about a certain topic, this is kind of how I'd like you to respond. And then we've got our actions, and this is where you go to actually stipulate certain actions. So that could be add a row to Excel. You can take a row out of Excel. You can run a certain script. You can send an email notification. And there's all sorts of other things you can do as well. You can pull to an API. There's loads of different things you can do with this. You can get it to start one of those Power Automate flows I was telling you about earlier on. So it goes and does something automatically. And that's all just based on a conversation that your customer or your staff is having with the bot. Then you've got your analytics, where you can sort of just see how well your bot is achieving, where it's had to sort of drop out, where it's not achieved something, and what is your interaction with it? How many did it resolve? How many did it have to escalate? How many did it abandon? What's the engagement? This is Power BI, by the way, guys. You've most likely seen this already. But yeah, it sort of tells you how much it is actually being utilized. Then if we head over to the channels bit, this is how you add it to other stuff. So whether that be Microsoft Teams, which I'll show you in a sec, you can even integrate it with Facebook. You have a company robot, which customers can interact with on Facebook if you wanted to. You can put it on a website. You can get them to interact via email. So if someone sends an email to a specific email address, it will get an automatic AI response trying to help them out. You know, there's all sorts you can integrate with, and to share it into Microsoft Teams, it is just a case of clicking on the tile that you want to share it into, and you would literally just then share it out to whoever it is that you want. So availability options, and then you can just pick, you know, show to my teammates or show to everyone in my organization. You know, it's dead simple to actually add this. And in the Blue Peter style, here's one I made earlier. This is the policy bot. Okay, so this is in Microsoft Teams, in case you didn't recognize the window. Now, as I say earlier on, it is trained on certain specific documentation. So, for example, I've got a document on there that's about bringing a pet to work. Okay, and this is just generic documentation, by the way, I've generated, funnily enough, by an AI. Now, what I'm able to do is do something like this. I'm thinking in natural language of bringing my German Shepherd into the office tomorrow morning. What do I need to know before I do that? No, I didn't say dog. No, I didn't say pet. No, I said German Shepherd. And this is in Teams, which you can just pin at the top of Teams, or you can add it as an app within Teams as well. And it knows straight away to bring your pet to the office, you need to follow the company's policy. And the information that it's providing here is based on the Word document that I've told it in its knowledge. And it sticks to that. It doesn't try and go off to the internet and try and find information, but it's clever enough to know German Shepherd. He's asking about a German Shepherd. That must be his pet. And it's able to just infer that. I've not told that at any point. You know, at no point have I stipulated that. It just knows. It's extremely handy, and it will only do what you tell it to, but is also clever enough to infer language. Large language models are fantastic. Let's go back to the demonstration. So, as always, when we give you these webinars and technical sort of, you know, speeches, if you like, it can be sometimes quite hard to infer your usage from this. Oh, it all looks very cool, but I can't see how we'd use it. So I've been asked to sort of give you a couple of examples of where it's going to be useful. So you can have it for customer support. So if you operate a customer support department, whether that be IT or whether that be a physical hardware that you guys sell, chances are it goes wrong at some point and they need to get hold of you to log an issue, and you'll either fix it under warranty or you know, you would help them troubleshoot and get back online again, whatever it is. With a bot, what you're able to do is actually feed it your documentation on your piece of software or piece of hardware or whatever, and as the customer says, I've got a problem, this is the kind of problem I'm having, it's going to consult your documentation, whether that be, you know, physical files you've provided, or whether it's going to look over in your cases entity in Dataverse, and it's going to look over, you know, how it's been solved in the past, and it's going to try and help your customer out before it even tries to escalate to a real person. That will be an avenue. You know, if it can't solve it, it will escalate, and you can tell it automatically go and raise a ticket in Dynamics for me. The nice thing about that is, because the customer's interacting with the Copilot, the details on the case are going to be extremely detailed. It will have screenshots. It will have, you know, a summary of the conversation of what the customer logged. So even though it was originally logged by the robots, because the customer's provided information, it will all be there. And then you can get real-time analytics on that. Sales coaching. So you can feed it a call transcript. Let's say you just got off the phone with a customer and they're really keen on what it is you've got to say, and that you'll be a good fit. A bot would have full knowledge of your entire product portfolio, and it's quite a tall order for all salespeople to have a, you know, intrinsic knowledge of every single product it is that you sell. Especially, you know, if in our case, if you're asking me about ERP, for example, I'm more of a CRM guy, so I won't necessarily know. What a bot will do is it will have access to all of that information, and after the call, it will analyze what you spoke about and go, yeah, that conversation was good, but you didn't really mention ERP systems. Just as a reminder, we sell ERP, and here's how I think it might be a good fit, you know, for your customer based on that conversation you just had. You know, and then I might say, oh yeah, that is a good fit. Can you schedule me a follow-up phone call or send them a quick email just with some key points about the ERP side? Oh yeah, I'll do that. It will draft the email. I'll read it over and I'll say, yes, please send it. And it will send off that information to the customer that I perhaps didn't cover in, in my meeting I had with them. So sales coaching. Escalations. So it will automatically escalate to someone if someone is perhaps not happy. So they initially, start off a conversation with the robot, with Copilot. It will look at the context and the sentiment of the customer. And if the customer isn't happy, it might ask questions about, okay, what is it you're not happy about? What product is it that you're asking me about? And it will guide it through to the correct person who needs to see it, and then maybe CC a manager or someone as well while they're at it. So it will guide it through to the right person, let someone know this customer is not happy, and also potentially raise a case if you wanted it to as well, or just basically raise flags. Say, hello, customer's not happy here. These people need to know, and this is the product they're talking about. It's able to do that without a human being involved, but it will drag in the human beings as and when it needs to. And then customer service. So once you've closed a ticket down and you're saying you've resolved it, we've all seen those emails. Thank you for raising a ticket with us. We're closing the ticket. Here are the resolution notes. It might be that you want to gain some feedback from your customer about how it was resolved. Did we resolve it quickly? Was it within your SLA? Is it to your expectations? Did we actually solve the problem? It can send that kind of survey out, and then depending on the responses back from your customer, it can again raise flags if something isn't right. And if it feels that maybe they need a call from their account manager, it might just tell the account manager, look, we've had a ticket recently, the customer wasn't happy, we took too long to respond. Account manager, can you give them a call to say, really sorry, we've got a high volume of calls, we'll make sure we'll try and prioritize you next time. And on the prioritizing you next time, you could build that into the Copilot as well. You would have a field on the customer to say, customer has previously raised concerns about our response time. Please ensure that when this customer calls up in future that we're getting back to them nice and quickly. And that could just be on the header of the customer. And it's just based on what it knows from previous. You're not relying on human beings necessarily to add that information. It is an assistant. Okay.